we all know somebody who invades our space just a little bit too much when communicating. This makes for a really awkward conversation. The idea that we all have spaces that are comfortable for us to communicate is known as territoriality, which refers to the area that individuals claim in order to protect their comfortable zones. This area can shrink or expand depending on who we're communicating with and our relationship to them. Brianna and Tom are going to show us the differences between the 4 different distances. The first distance is the intimate distance. Come on, Tom and Brianna. The intimate distance is from touching to 18 inches apart. Let's face it, it's called intimate for a reason. It's really uncomfortable to communicate with someone this way, and it's not something that we often do when we're talking with somebody else. The second distance is the casual or personal distance. Take a big step back. The casual or personal distance is somewhere between 18 inches apart to about 4 feet apart. And this is the natural distance that we have when we're engaged in interpersonal communication. The next distance, a little bit further, guys, is between 4 and 12 feet. It's known as the social distance, and that's sort of the distance that we interact with others that we don't know very well in much more professional sorts of settings. The final distance, disappear, is the public distance. And the public distance is somewhere longer than that, but we can still keep each other in sight and we can still hear each other. Public settings, like public speeches, are an example of that.
Hi, I'm Marianne Dainton, and I'm a professor of communication at LaSalle University. One of the things I teach my students is that there are lots of different ways to send messages. One of my favorite ways is to say it with food. In this show, I will combine 2 of my passions, interpersonal communication and cooking. So join me as I teach you how to send a message in the tastiest way possible, through food.
Today I'm going to show you how to prepare a meal that's sure to keep other people out of your space. Chicken with 40 cloves of garlic. I can't think of a better way to keep people away than 1, 2, 3, 4, all of this garlic. So in addition to 4 whole heads of garlic, we need a package of chicken thighs. In this case, chicken thighs are my favorite, but you can replace it with any bone-in, skin-on chicken that you prefer. We have some fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, some shallots, 2 or 3, depending on how big they are, 1 cup of your favorite white wine, some chicken broth, and olive oil. So the first thing we need to do is break up these heads of garlic. And we're going to see how strong I really am today, because usually, today I'm strong enough. You can just break it up and throw it right into the pan, papers and all. We're going to take the papers out later. But you do need each and every clove to be separated from all of the other cloves. Once we get all of the garlic in there, we need to toss in a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. You can just do it by sight. It just needs to have a very little coating of the olive oil. Then a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper. What you do after that is cover it loosely with a piece of tin foil, and you put it into an oven that's been preheated to 400 degrees. While the garlic is roasting, I'm going to use some shallots to add some oniony flavor. The nice thing about shallots is that it has an onion flavor, but it's not nearly as strong. We've got plenty of strength in this dish already from all of the garlic. So we're just going to peel and dice 2 medium-sized shallots. Shallots run a lot smaller than onions do. And so I'm just going to slice them into strips, and then dice them again. Okay, these shallots will be added after we've cooked our chicken. So our next step is actually to start with our chicken. Preheat a saucepan with some olive oil in preparation of doing that. What you need to do is take an oven-proof pan, either a Dutch oven or, like I'm using, a stainless steel sauté pan. You just need to heat it up and add some oil. Because this is stainless steel, you actually want to get the pan hot before you add the oil. When you're using non-stick pans, you should never preheat an oven pan without putting something in it first. Let's check on that garlic. It's smelling really good. Just to give you a look at what it looks like after it gets done, we've got that golden brown, aromatic, fabulous piece of garlic. Okay, I think our pan is hot enough now, so we can add our oil. Even though there's a lot of fat in chicken skin to begin with, you need to add a little bit so that it doesn't stick. And notice how quickly that oil ripples and starts to smoke. That's exactly what you're looking for. Just add our chicken pieces, skin side down. And then we can season it like we talked about. So these will snap, crackle, and pop for about 5 to 7 minutes. After it gets to be a nice golden brown on the skin side, you want to turn it over and start browning the other side. And that needs to cook for another 5 minutes or so. So once you get it browned on both sides, you need to take the chicken out. Our next step is to actually deglaze the pan. And by deglazing, what we mean is actually getting all those yummy brown bits on the bottom to create a rich juice. So our first step is to take our shallots and our rosemary. We take our shallots, stick that into our hot pan, and get a nice golden crust on them as well. To smell the aromatics, that's when you add your liquids. And so we're going to add 1 cup of white wine. Watch out, it's going to make a noise. Once you add that wine, you need to scrape the bottom so you start to get the yummy bits on the bottom. What we're going to do then is put our chicken sitting right on top of all of that roasted garlic. It seeps into the bottom and makes everything yummy and roasted garlic delicious. We just turn it off and we stick it into a 450-degree oven for about 40 minutes. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes, so it's time to bring out our magical dish. And I got a sneak trick. It's this pot holder. It makes sure I don't burn myself. So we're going to remove the chicken before we start working on our sauce. We're just going to put the chicken on our serving plate. I'll let go. And then we're going to start straining our sauce. The way we're going to do that is literally through a strainer. Kind of push everything right through the sieve. All that paper that I was talking about, you don't have to worry about it anymore. We've got that beautiful sauce, but now we want the beautiful garlic to go with it. And this is just a process of pressing and squeezing until we get all of the garlicky goodness out. The garlic is so soft, it's going to go right through the mesh sieve. So in just a moment, I'm going to lift it up and show you that we've got lots of garlic stuck to the bottom of our strainer. Let's just ladle some of that yummy garlic goodness over the top of it all. Chicken with 40 cloves of garlic. It's a great meal for dinner, but it's also really fantastic for those times when you just need some space and need to create your own sense of territoriality. Remember, if you don't know how to say it for yourself, you can always say it with food.